8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. The President says the current economic crisis cannot be solved through one budget. The budget debate continues in Parliament today as well. The irrigation engineer says that the water level at the Vimala Surendra Reservoir has reached the spill level. Minister Bandula Gunawardena says the suspended development activities will be resumed after receiving the second tranche of the IMF EFF financial assistance. Public Entertainment Classification Board to be formed in lieu of the Public Performance Board. The court lifts the order suspending Dinesh Shafter's life insurance payments. Sri Lankan MPs write to the UN chief seeking end to Israeli onslaught and oppression against the Palestinians. Grade 5 scholarship results to be released next week. In news overseas, Gaza-Myanmar conflict high on agenda at ASEAN defense meeting. And in sports news, India in command after making a mammoth total of 397 in the World Cup semi-finals against New Zealand. Those are the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the local news. The second reading debate of the budget for the year 2024 is continuing for the second consecutive day today. The debate, which commenced yesterday, will continue for 7 days until the 21st of November. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the current economic crisis cannot be solved through one budget. The solution approach should be changed according to the nature of the crisis. First, effective steps will be taken to stabilize the economy of the country. Thereafter, measures will be taken to strengthen the economy. The President made these remarks today at a dialogue on 2024 budget proposals organized by the Association of Postgraduates of the Business Administration Faculty of the University of Colombo. Addressing the gathering, the President further said a successful solution could be found for the crisis through a healthy change in the changing environment. Funds allocated for Aswasma Social Benefit Scheme has been tripled with the sole objective of building a new society. The budget proposals have addressed the current economic crisis in a systematic manner, the President added. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has articulated plans to institute a Public Entertainment Classification Board in lieu of the Public Performance Board. Addressing the Presidential Film Awards for the year 2023 held at Nelum Pokola Theatre, Colombo yesterday, he underscored the importance of eliminating the term censorship from artistic creations. The President highlighted the current challenges faced by artists as artistic creations fall under various criminal laws. To address this issue, he proposed a program wherein films and television productions would be submitted to the classification board before enforcement. President Wickremesinghe expressed the government's expectations to implement these measures starting next year. The head of state also underscored the imperative need for Sri Lankan cinema to attain global acclaim. In dedicated pursuit of this objective, the government is proactively engaged in a comprehensive restructuring of the National Film Corporation and all its affiliated institutions to seamlessly integrate the cutting-edge technologies. This year's Presidential Film Awards ceremony holds a special importance as it marks a return after 3 years hiatus. Out of 42 films screened in the year 2019 to 2020, a total of 44 awards were bestowed upon actors and technicians. These awards were traditionally bestowed upon individuals meticulously selected by a jury comprising film experts, critics, and 7 honorary doctors and professors. Furthermore, 9 additional awards were presented during the ceremony, adding to the prestige of the occasion. The Colombo Magistrates Court lifted the order issued directing the officials of the relevant insurance companies to suspend for a period of 1 week the life insurance payments to the beneficiaries on behalf of the late businessman Dinesh Shafter, who had died under mysterious circumstances. Colombo Additional Magistrate Rajendra Jayasuri issued this order today, stating that the said order will be rescinded as the court feels it is no longer necessary to suspend the insurance payments to the concerned parties. Furthermore, the additional magistrate mentioned that it is not be revealed that any other party is trying to obtain the said compensation. On November 8th, the Colombo Magistrates Court issued an order to the relevant officials of the insurance companies to suspend the payment of the insurance compensation to the concerned beneficiaries for a period of 1 week after considering the request made by the Police Homicide and Organized Crimes Division. Earlier this month, the court determined that the death of businessman Dinesh Shafter occurred as a result of an external pressure applied on his neck and his facial area after the 5-member experts committee comprising judicial medical officers appointed to uncover the actual cause of death of late businessman Shafter submitted its report on the post-mortem to the court. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. A letter addressed to the United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, signed by 159 Sri Lankan parliamentarians with regard to the Israel-Palestine issue, was handed over to the UN compound in Colombo yesterday. Meanwhile, a copy of the relevant document has also been delivered to the Palestinian ambassador in Colombo. The letter, expressing solidarity of the members of the Sri Lankan Parliament with Palestine, has raised deep concerns about the war against Palestinian civilians, especially in Gaza, reaching a critical point and causing a humanitarian crisis in the besieged enclave Gaza Strip, and detailed several demands. The results of the Grade 5 scholarship examination for the year 2023 will be released next week, said the examinations department. The evaluation process is in its final stage, the department further said. The opposition will come up with additional proposals for the budget 2024 in accordance with the appeal made by President Ranil Wickremesinghe to forward better proposals than the 2024 budget proposals, SJB MP Iran Wickremaratne told the Parliament yesterday. The MP said that he would request the government to implement the proposals presented by the opposition for the budget if possible, and if these proposals can be implemented properly, the country's economy can be built. The irrigation engineer says that the water level at the Vimala Surendra Reservoir has reached the spill level. It is also reported that heavy rains in the Horton Hydro catchment area, the water level of the Kalani River has gone up due to the overflow of this reservoir. People residing in the low-lying areas of the Kalani River are advised to be vigilant. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. President says that the current economic crisis cannot be solved through one budget. The budget debate continues in Parliament today. The irrigation engineer says that the water level at the Vimala Surendra Reservoir has reached the spill level. Minister Bandula Gunawardana says that the suspended development activities will be resumed after the second tranche of the IMF-EFF financial assistance. Public Entertainment Classification Board to be formed in lieu of the Public Performance Board. The court lifts order suspending Dinesh Shafter's life insurance payments. Sri Lankan MPs write to the UN chief seeking end to Israeli onslaught and oppression against the Palestinians. Grade 5 scholarship results to be released next week. And that was the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
The main news story for tonight, Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardana said that the suspended development activities may be resumed after receiving the second tranche of the IMF-EFF financial assistance. Current economic problem cannot be solved by political solution. An economic solution is necessary to address the current situation. The minister made these remarks at a media conference held at the Presidential Media Centre today. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
In Washington tonight, the number of dengue cases in several areas in the Western Province and in the Kandyan district of the Central Province has increased. The National Dengue Control Unit says that most of the breeding grounds for mosquitoes have been identified around the schools and religious places in many areas. Director of the National Dengue Control Unit, Dr. Nalin Aryaratna, said that 70,500 dengue cases have been reported in Sri Lanka so far this year. That came to you in Watchlight, and now let's move on to the headlines of the world news. Gaza-Myanmar conflicts high on agenda at the ASEAN Defense Meeting. Biden and Xi to hold talks in a year on Wednesday. APEC ministerial meeting opens in San Francisco. Those are the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the world news. Defense chiefs in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations started a series of talks on Wednesday in Jakarta. The discussions were dominated by the ongoing armed conflicts. In the opening address, Indonesian Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto called for immediate cessation of fighting between Israel and Hamas. Prabowo said that the violence against the civilian population must stop and efforts to achieve a ceasefire must continue. He also said that the safe passage for humanitarian aid must be widened and accelerated. U.S. President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping will hold talks on Wednesday for the first time in a year. The two leaders are due to meet on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum in San Francisco. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan on Monday suggested the United States and China are in a complex and competitive relationship which may easily veer into clashes or confrontations. Ministers from 21 members of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum have gathered in San Francisco. Japan's Foreign Minister Kamikawa Yoko and Economy, Trade and Industry Minister Nishimura Yasutoshi were among the attendees on Tuesday. Issues on the agenda included sustainable economic growth. Nishimura said that it is important to seek a diverse and a realistic path to achieve net zero emissions of greenhouse gases. And that was the world news.
Development news.
Luxury passenger vessel Resilient Lady, operated by Virgin Voyages and flying the Bahamian flag, made the maiden call at the Port of Colombo on 13th of November 2023. The ship, measuring 909 feet in length and accommodating 2,318 passengers and 1,194 crew members, called at the East Terminal of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, Port of Colombo. Built in the year 2022, Resilient Lady's maiden call was commemorated with a plaque exchange ceremony. Departing from Goa, India, the Resilient Lady's next port of call is Phuket, Thailand. Mackin & Mackenzie Shipping Private Limited serves as the local port agent for the vessel, while Akin Spence Travels Limited serves as a local agent for excursions during her stay in Colombo. That was the development news, and
moving on with sports news.
the first semi-final between India and New Zealand is being played at Wankhede ground as a day-night encounter. India won the toss and elected to bat first. Accordingly, India made 397 for the loss of 4 wickets in the allotted 50 overs. Virat Kohli made 117 and broke many records, including most number of ODI centuries record. Iyer made 105. In reply, New Zealand were 166 for the loss of 2 wickets in 26 overs a short while ago. That is the sports news, business news coming up.
Go ekakthiyana youth කට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න as වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business news sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Abans Finance PLC Gabha was relocated at a ceremony held on the 11th of November under the guidance of Chairman Cecil Pereira at the relocation of Abans Finance PLC Gabha branch with the aim of providing efficient service to its customers. Abans Finance PLC Chief Executive Officer Darshan Silva, Director Hiran Emildenia, Gabha branch manager Nimanta Kurupu and officials participated at the event. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
Business news sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekakthiyana youth කට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න as වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And in economic news, the Sri Lankan apparel sector will benefit from the 2024 national budget proposal to create 4 more export processing zones. The current operating BOI zones are full and the country needs more zones, said Managing Director, Brandix Group, Hasita Premaratna, at an event organized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka. That is economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Weather report.
And finally, the weather report. The Met Department says showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the northern, north central and northwestern provinces. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters are likely at some places in the northwestern province. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in the eastern and Nuwa provinces and in the Hambantota district after 2 p.m. Several spells of showers may occur in the western and Sabaragamu provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. And before we conclude this bulletin, let's get back to the headlines once again. The President says the current economic crisis cannot be solved through one budget. The budget debate continues in Parliament today as well. The irrigation engineer says the water level at the Vibla Surendra Reservoir has reached the spill level. Minister Bandula Gunawardana says that the suspended development activities will be resumed after receiving the second tranche of the IMF EFF financial assistance. Public Entertainment Classification Board to be formed in lieu of Public Performance Board. The court lifts order suspending Dinesh Shafter's life insurance payments. Sri Lankan MPs write to the UN chief seeking end to Israeli onslaught and oppression against Palestinians. The Grade 5 scholarship examination results to be released next week. In news overseas, Gaza-Myanmar conflicts high on agenda at the ASEAN Defence Meeting. And in sports news, India in command after making a mammoth total of 397 in the World Cup semi-finals against New Zealand. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news. And now it's back to our regular Wednesday evening host, my good friend Ramesh, to keep you entertained.